The day Great Aunt Shirley died is seared in my memory forever. A black and hopeless day, the only light in that endless gutter of grief was the Premier League footballer Jack Grealish. My Great Aunt Shirley was like a mother to me, nurturing and stoic, but also like a father because she was obsessed with golf and left shits in the bowl the size of a small dog. She had been in Birmingham's QE hospital for 8 days, in and out of consciousness, when the doctor, rushed and forlorn, told us she was nearing the end of her life. The words were incomprehensible, because he was, as many staff are at the QE, on cocaine. Laughter of recognition in the room. The sadness was soon dispersed by audible excitement outside in the wider ward, the sounds of tittering, doctors scrambling for their phones, and patients climbing from their deathbeds. "OMG," came one voice. "Look, Sandra, it's Jack Grealish." Grealish was there on a visit to see some sick children and show them footballs and how nice he looked in his kit. He was stopping and taking photographs with whoever asked, charming, handsome, thoughtful, and dare I say it, pretty fit. I knew I had to seize the opportunity, even for the briefest of moments, for her to meet Jack Grealish. I stepped out into the ward and approached tentatively. "Jack," I said, "my Great Aunt Shirley is dying. You are her favourite footballer. Might you sit with us for a while?" "It would be my great honour," he replied, bowing his head all the way to the floor. I asked if he was being sarcastic, to which he said probably September, and we entered. This is a very sad story, actually. Cousin Liz was quickly removed to make space for Grealish because, like the rest of the family, Aunt Shirley thought Liz was a loser. "Go and get a coffee, and while you're there, maybe see if you can get a life," said Uncle Tim, handing her a £5 and his Costa Coffee Club loyalty card. "If you don't get a stamp, don't come back." "Great Aunt Shirley," I whispered, "it's your favourite football player, Jack Grealish." She stirred, opened her eyes, and began to cry. "My favourite footballer is Frank Lampard," she said. Far from hurt, Jack sat beside her, took hold of her hand and leant in to speak. "I'm sorry I'm not Frank Lampard. If there was any way I could become Frank Lampard, to still your pain and soothe your soul, please know, Shirley, that I would do it for you." She smiled. "You are a kind boy," she said, and dropped a tab of acid that had been given to her by the hospital caretaker. That would have been a better line if I hadn't had a stroke while I was saying it. There, sweet Shirley," he said, taking her hand and softly rubbing the back of it with his thumb. "I know you are frightened, but let us not dwell on graves and grief. Death is not to be feared. You reach your hand out into the abyss, and what do you feel? There is nothing to feel but love. Wherever, whatever next, it will not and cannot be without love. Remember, my dear Shirley, the words of Dylan Thomas. Though lovers be lost, love shall not." Shirley's mouth had begun to curl into a contented smile, from his words, but also probably because of the tab of acid. "Thank you, Jack Grealish," he whispered. "Thank you for everything." "Don't thank me. I've told you nothing you did not already know yourself," he purred. "Are you comfortable? Do you need anything?" "I am hungry. Might you get me a raw onion?" she said. Astonishingly, Jack produced one from his pocket, which he began to eat like an apple. "There is one other thing you can help with," she said, raising a finger. "My nephew, the irritating, effeminate one." She was pointing at me. "His hot point fridge is just not cooling properly. A real man would be able to fix it, but he is a limp-wristed arse bandit with no applicable skills." This is a very sad story, actually. "Might you be able to restore it?" "Interesting," said Grealish, stroking his chin. "Is it a faulty thermostat or dirty condenser coils?" "Neither," I said. "I will have it working by morning," he said. Hearing those words, calmly and peacefully, Great Aunt Shirley finished her onion and slipped away, brackets died. Jack stayed with us, silent, unless spoken to, fixing my hot point fridge in white, which I had brought to the bedside. We said our goodbyes to Shirley's brittle body, and once I'd kissed her on her cold and sunken forehead, Jack took hold of the back of my head with his palms and looked into my eyes. "Joe, I've fixed your hot point fridge in white. The refrigerant was leaking because of a faulty valve," he said. "When a mountain appears unassailable, you will find a way. Remember that grief is the price of love, and the price of the replacement valve will be £65 plus VAT. Shirley's life, your life, the life of a hot point fridge in white, even my life, they are all transient. But so is sorrow. It will pass. All of us are destined to return home one day, to see out the rest of the seasons, listen closely to the morning dew, smell faint winds of rice and wine, take earth and ash in our fists, sip in the light of the moon. Do not despair, dear Joe. Your legacy will live on, my child, through your friends and family, but probably not through your artworks, which are undeniably shit. And with that, he slipped away, brackets left quietly. As he walked out, I heard him say to one of his minders, "Let's get out of this shithole, it smells like a fucking human abattoir." Thank you very much.
This is my art hole, 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 this is my